in the chat, or if you can hear us, do you want to put a thumbs up in the chat for Dr. Kaza?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me now? Rocky, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Sunny.
Okay, good. Video is stopped. Why did? Okay, we'll give a couple of minutes more as people are joining.
And then thanks for giving me the opportunity, Dr. Kaza. So whenever you're ready.
10:05 we'll start, and as people are joining, I think 20 plus people have joined already. So I think recording has started. This is Sunil Kaza. Satish Katula could not be here as he's on tour in India. So I'll go ahead and introduce Rocky. Prior to introducing, we want to do the legal disclaimer. The information provided in this webinar for general information purpose only and does not constitute financial, legal, or professional advice. The views and opinions expressed by the speakers are on their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of OPI. Participants are advised to consult with qualified financial or legal professionals before making any financial decisions. The webinar may include links to external resources or third-party content. OPI does not endorse or assume responsibility for any third-party information, products, or services. By attending this webinar, you acknowledge that OPI is not liable for any direct, indirect, incidental, or consequential loss or damage arising from your reliance on this information provided. With that disclaimer, I'll go ahead and introduce Rocky. Rocky Singh has been my friend of mine for almost 20 years, and he's a physician, works as a chief medical officer at Indiana University, and also has been a successful businessman in various fields. I do not have any personal conflict of interest in this particular thing. I have done business with Dr. Rocky Singh before, but in this particular thing, I have no conflict of interest. So here it is. Take away, Rocky.
Thanks, Sunny. So like Dr. Kaza said, we go a long way back. So I wanted to bring you to just a quick, like Dr. Kaza said about me. I'm an ER physician by background. I did my residency back in the East Coast in New York, 1999 to 2002, and moved to Indiana. I was on H-1B for, 15 years. So it was very depressing part of my life was not being able to get through my green card. My boss one time told me when I was 45 years into my job, he's like, hey, there's an amnesty coming. Why don't you jump the wall? I'll pick you up and then you can get legal. So it was kind of depressing to see that there are a lot of other things happening, but the legal immigrant like us from India, we're sitting on H-1B, we're being, just sidelined. Just to give you a background, so 1998, I came here. 2013 is when I got my legal immigration. So it was just a long wait and exhausting wait. Again, as I said, I am an ER physician. I did an MBA from Kelley School of Business. It's one of the top 10 schools in the country. I'm currently serving as a chief medical officer for iHealth Suburban Region. I oversee 3 hospitals. Back in 2006, we started doing some real estate development, and Dr. Kaza was, as he said, was part of it. He is not part of this. And the reason I'm doing this now is more around there are opportunities that people may not know where you can get your green card pretty quickly without any minimal cost to you, with safe investments. And a lot of people don't know that you don't have to sit around in an H-1B status for 10 years when you can get your green card in 6 months. So just a quick background on what is EB5. So EB5 is a way to bring investment into the US that creates jobs. That's the key word, that you have to create jobs. And then US government says, okay, we'll give you citizenship to these foreign investors who can create jobs for us. So there are different types of EB5. There are urban target employment area, rural target employment area, and infrastructure. Why is there a difference? Because the investment is different. And if any one of you follow the visa bulletin, it will tell you what's the wait time for those different types of EB5. So in urban, your investment is actually $1,050,000. You have to create jobs, at least 20 jobs. And the wait time still for Indian people of Indian origin is 5 years. So no matter if you are a Canadian citizen, but if you were born in India, your wait time is still 5 years. And then the second category is urban, but it's a target employment area, which means you're going to be in part of the city, which is not a great part of the city. The investment comes down to 800,000, but the wait time still doesn't change. It's still 5 years for people of Indian origin. And then lastly, there is a rural TEA, which is this one is about. The minimum investment for any EB5 is 800,000, and this category for Indian is current. That means you can file today, and in 6 months you got a green card in your. On average, 6 months you got a green card in your hand. And then lastly, there are infrastructure projects. There are only 5% of the visas are kind of given out to these infrastructure projects. They're very rare. This project is not an infrastructure project. It's a rural TEA project. I have some frequently asked questions at the end, and then we'll do an open Q&A. And as you please keep writing your questions, and we'll do a Q&A session. What is it? We're doing a hotel. It's a Fairfield Inn. Just my background. I built 3 hotels in the last, just 2 in the last 5 years. One opened in March this year. It's a Hilton. I've done this Town Place by Marriott in downtown Indianapolis, and back when we did the Candlewood Suites. I'm also in the process of developing a couple of Hyatts, some multifamily and apartments, multifamily, about 500 apartments, and about 28 houses that are under development. So this one is a Marriott Fairfield Inn, and we have some, and I'm happy to share these slides with you. It's a Marriott Inn in Crawfordsville, which is right outside the Indianapolis boundary, so it qualifies for being a rural, but still caters to the Indianapolis suburban market. So I live in Carmel, Indiana, which is the north suburbs. This is western suburbs of the Indianapolis area. Again, just outside, so it qualifies for a rural. So typically, I only pick up hotels which have high returns. So this is projected to have an IRR, which is the internal rate of return of 36%. Doesn't mean that you're going to get 36% cash. Just saying that the project financials are pretty sound. I don't manage them myself. I use a reputable third-party company, national company who manages it for us, gives us clear financials every month. And Sunny and I are actually part of another hotel where we evaluate those financial performances and make sure that it is meeting the metrics. Again, it's a premium brand. It's a Marriott. It's the first one. I've had conversations with the mayor of the city. He is just loving it. He said, we don't have a Marriott here. If you bring it, we will fill it up for you. There is a university there, so we have looked at the sources where the volume's coming from. And Marriott itself is the most trusted traveler hotel in the country. And a lot of you may know that they've got the strongest rewards program. So a lot of business people, they travel for work on Marriott and then take those points and then travel for pleasure because of that. That's why Marriott is still #1 hotel all across the country. It has been awarded the J.D. Powers Associate highest ranking extended stay. The Fairfield Inn is a very, very strong brand. I'm sure you see it in a lot of places, and wherever you live, there is a Fairfield Inn. We looked at, so this is from Impact Data Source. So we want to make sure that it is creating jobs. So Impact Data Source is a USCIS approved agency that can give us a certificate of jobs. So the certificate of jobs is that they're saying that we will have 158 total jobs created through this project. That means for every 10 in rural, we can sponsor 1 EB5 green card. We are limiting it to only 10, but I could sponsor up to 15 green cards through this project. And what we do is we develop the property, train our staff. We have on-site conference center management. We do revenue management, and then manage the cost. And we do really well in these hotels. And all my hotels are doing really, really well. They're doing really wonderful. It's in a great location, as I said. The location is Crawfordsville. It's off of 74 going to Illinois from Indiana. So if you don't know Indiana very well, central area is Indianapolis metro area. And it's called Crossroads of America because all the roads pretty much go through Indiana across the country. So there's 69 going north and south, 65 going north and south, then 74 going east and west, and 70 going east and west. So it's got like intersection of 8 highways crossing through there. On 74 going west, it's the third exit. So it's close to Speedway District. I don't know if you know about Indiana, very famous for our Indy 500. So it's off of that on that side of the town. So again, gives good access to the city, but also has a lot of local demand there. And these are the demand generators that we look at. So we look at STAR reports and LARC reports. These are the two agencies that give us estimates of our future, what the rate is going to be in the hotel, what the occupancy is going to be, and that's how we build those performers, like how much money can we expect for it to come. Hendricks County has a pretty large healthcare system. It's close to the universities. There is a Butler University close by, and then IUPUI is pretty close downtown. So it's a lot of demand generators in this, as you can see in that research that we did. Again, this is Crawfordsville. This is a home too that I built in Brownsburg on the left side of your screen. This was open in March and it's doing exceptionally well. And the next exit after that, you see on that corner where it says points of interest, that's where the Crawfordsville is. So it's the central areas in the metro market, and then kind of just off of the central market is where we have picked up the location of this hotel to kind of blend use of some urban and suburban market. Again, we have done lots of hotels. Commonwealth is the manager. I've used them for the last 20 years, and they've done exceptionally well. They manage 48 hotels across the country. And then, as I said, we have done, myself have done multiple hotels, ground up constructions, and a lot of single family, multi-family offices in the market. Been living here for 20 years. I know the market well. So we've been very successful in doing this. So there are a few questions before we open up for Q&A. Can I apply for EB5 on H-1B? Yes, that's primarily what you can do. If I had known in 5 years out of job, I would have applied for out of residency. I would have applied for an EB5 and gotten my green card instead of waiting for 15 years. Do EB5 investors get their money back? Yes, they get the full part of the investment money. USCS requires that they maintain their investment at risk, and that's the disclaimer. But based upon our history and the performance that we are doing, we are confident that we can get that return. Can you borrow money for EB5? Let's say you got 600,000, you need 200,000. Yes. So if you can say, hey, I've got other assets in India or here that I want to collateralize to use as borrow money against, yes, then you can borrow money to do it, but you have to have some assets to back it up. You can also have someone in your family gift it, and they'll just give you a certificate that I'm gifting this money. It's between you and them. How do you want to handle that gift? But gift is also an acceptable source of money. If you, let's say you have 500, you need 300,000 more. What happened to the money? So the money is taken, put it into a fund, and then it's used by a U.S. business to do that project and create American jobs. And the way we have, that's not in the slide, but I'm going to explain it a little bit better. The money does not go to the developer. So there is a fund, which is, as you know, there are different types of equity funds, private equity funds. So there are USCIS funds. One of them is called PRXY. I've used PRXY. You can Google them, prxyco.com. They administer these funds. So you're not giving the money into the project. You're putting the money in a fund, and that fund is allocating the money towards the project based upon. So they do their due diligence. They are required by USCIS to keep the investors' best interest at their heart and do their due diligence. So they will require every receipt. They will do oversight. The money cannot be taken out without signature of the fund people. It will stay in the bank until the fund approves it. So how do you get your money? So we have structured it in a way, and I will share the PPM if you on a personal basis. The first 2% of all the returns will go to the EB5. So not only is your money secure, no one is getting money until the investors, EB5 investors, get money first. And then the developers and the investors will start getting equal share until you get to 6%. And then the additional return may be allocated to the developer. Again, as I said, the money is secured by a fund that is held by PRXY Co. And then the money is released to the developer upon verification of the intended use. And USCIS oversees and audits every 3 months this third-party vendor that, are you doing what you're supposed to do? So that's how the money stays secure. So again, I didn't want it to be a long winded conversation. That was more around giving an idea what this is and questions you have, and help you understand. Again, there are lots of people who are sitting out there just in my situation, what I was in. So I'm hoping there are people that we can help out, and they can get their green card with good investment. And yeah, so Sunny, if you have questions, or you can start.
Thank you for the quick and concise report on this EB5 visa process. One of the questions I have is, most of these youngsters, for example, either businessmen or doctors, may not have as much money on their name. So, for example, if I invest, can I sponsor my nephew or niece under this EB5? And whose name does the money stay? On my name or my nephew or niece name?
Yeah, so Sunny, the USCIS requires that the investment is made either by your nephew or by you, either as a loan to your nephew or as a gift to your nephew. So the money is counted towards that, your nephew. So now it's between you and your nephew. We can create a document saying, hey, I'm putting money into this project, and I've done this before for somebody who did that. So they said, okay, the guy said, it's my money, but I'm sponsoring my brother-in-law. He doesn't have any money. So we created a document amongst themselves that essentially transfers all the proceeds from that project back to, so in a sense, it will be you. So although there's for USCIS purposes, everything is going in under your nephew's name, but then you have an agreement with your nephew that he's going to turn over all the proceeds, including the principal and the whatever interest or returns that you're getting back to you. So you can have that arrangement.
There are some questions in the chat box from Mr. Pratap Thakkar. Can someone apply for EB5 from India who is not here?
100%. We actually, my wife's brother is still in India, so he's not a green card holder. We are doing his. He's in India, so yes. We did. Another friend of mine, his brother-in-law was in India, in Delhi, so we applied for him, so he's coming over.
And Pradeep Reddy asking, how long does it take for the investment to be returned based on the past projects?
The USCIS requires that the investment stays in for 2 years. Typically,
2 years.
Requires that. Now the question is, what is the best time to get the money back out? So typically, what you want to, so it's a 16-month development project, and then you want to have trailing 12 months of financials to sell the hotel. So let's say we start today, everything, and in 16 months it's built. Once it's open, if you try to sell it, you're not going to get good return on it What you want to show is that the hotel is doing really well, and at a Marriott sell at 7.5% cap rate, especially when the interest rates are coming down. Then you can sell it in about. So I would say don't expect the money coming back until 3 years. You'll start getting your return on investment starting in year 2. But we typically want to wait until that 16 plus 12 month is over before we put it in the market and sell it.
So you get some dividends in second year and all the money returned in 3 to 4 years.
Correct.
And Chintan Shah, another question. Any rate of return and how long does it take to get the money back? Same question. And any gift taxes and attorney fees.
So the rate of return is, as I said, the first 2% only goes to the investor group. Then after that, there's additional 4%. So 6% of your money, whatever you invested, starts coming back to you in year 2. And we cap it there just because it is meant to be an EB5 project. Developers are not taking any money until you are getting paid first. There is no gift tax for gifting someone EB5 money for investment. We did that for someone else here because you're giving it to someone who's not a US citizen, essentially. So there is no gift tax, but I don't take my word for it. I would ask my CPA the same question, but when we did it before, the guy did not get dinged with a gift tax. Attorney fees, so we cover, so the attorney fees are yours, and that's a great point. Good. So I have tied up with 1 or 2 attorneys who I refer these investors to. I say, have a conversation. The immigration attorneys do not work for me. They work for you, so they're going to have your best interest. So your best interest is either find someone who is really good and he can do for you, file your paperwork for you, or I can refer someone to you who has the project knowledge and has done it before for me, and he will do a free consultation for you. And I'll say, hey, if you like him after the consultation, keep him. If you don't like him, go to someone you like. There are lots of good immigration lawyers outside.
So generally, what is the fees? Like $4,000 to $5,000?
So I've typically seen it the attorney fees, the fees come out to about $25,000.
25.
Because of there's lots of filing fees, 485 fee. There is so the different processes have fees, especially the larger family. Now, one thing I forgot to tell you is it's all the green card is not just for you, but family and kids under the age of 21. So we actually had to scramble one time and file someone's, because his birthday was coming in a month. So we were able to file it. His 21st birthday was coming. So his son's 21st birthday was coming. So we were able to file it and get that within the 20 age. So as soon as you get the notice, that's the date which they take. So as soon as you have a notice of receipt from USCIS, anyone in your family, you, your spouse, your kids under the age of 21, they all get green card.
Dr. Narsimlu Nilagaru is asking, how are the employees counted, direct or indirect?
So
direct and indirect, sorry.
Yeah, that's a great question. So Impact Data Source has been doing it for multiple years. What they do is they then decide, hey, this building is built. Does that create a McDonald's to come in? What does it create? So it creates jobs not just within the building, it starts creating jobs around that area. So people start coming in with restaurants, people will start coming in with other facilities to support the hotel. So whatever is needed around it are called indirect jobs. So you're not directly producing those jobs, but because of the project, that the city, the area, the location is benefiting from bringing these jobs in. I'll give you an example, like where there's a plant coming up in Indiana. It's a Samsung plant, which is projected to produce 2,800 direct jobs. But there are additional 5,000 jobs being created by suppliers and chemical industries and people who are doing lithium work. And so there's ancillary work or other projects which come in because of the projects, and those are counted towards indirect jobs. Good question.
Great. And Mr. Pratap Thakur had another question. What is the other cost of 4.7 million?
Is it on the pro forma cost of 4.7 million? I can give you the details. So there is So I have a detailed pro forma, Dr. Tucker, and I'll put my email and phone number in the chat too. The pro forma, I mean, we calculate all the costs, like what's your franchise fee, what is your civil engineering fee, what's your architectural engineering fee, what are your soil testing fees, what are your attorney fees and all. So there are costs that are built in, and each one has a dedicated spot. So we have detailed pro formas of each and every piece of cost that goes into the hotel, and I'm happy to share that with you.
And Mr. Samir Shah has another question. Can you do EB5 while waiting for family file? So if they have already filed for their family visa green card, can you do this?
100%. So we have done some family files, and then those dates are not moving at all, especially for your siblings or I mean, that's like 15, 20 years at this point. So you'll be waiting for a long time. So you may want to just switch it to EB5. The answer is yes.
Next is, let us see, okay. How long the money gets logged in to keep the green card current?
So the USCIS requirement is that 2 years. But again, the other key factor is we have to prove that jobs are created. Once the jobs are created, then that conditional word on your green card goes away, and you can apply for citizenship. But the USCIS requires it to be in the project for two years.
And you probably answered this question already. Do you help in filing the green card application and attorney filing? You answered this before.
So we will help.
What is the history record of the company doing the legal work for filing EB5? How many have they done before, and success rate?
So if you're asking for the company, so I personally have done 2 EB5 projects. One is in downtown Indianapolis. It was in a target employment area. And then the other one is in Brownsburg, Indiana, that is also a target employment area. This one is a rural target employment area, which then reduced the amount of money that you have to invest. So it will be a third EB5 project that I'm doing personally. As far as if you're looking for, yeah, that's the question, not the attorney question.
And what is the exit strategy? Do you get market value? Do you have to find a buyer on your own?
So typically we would list it with large brokers. I just came back from the lodging conference in Scottsdale. The market is hot. There were lots and lots of people asking for who has property to sell because there are buyers outside. With the interest rates coming down, they're looking for solid performing investment properties to put the money in. So we will work with some national brokers, get some brokers' opinion, and think about when do we list it.
Yeah, there is an anecdotal case. In one case, the project stalled and later canceled due to COVID and never got the money. What would you advise?
So that's the downside of putting in some larger projects. So what we do is we do pretty small projects that are not that high capital. We've done it close by. I personally did a project during COVID. It was downtown Indianapolis. Yes, there were delays. So those are unforeseen circumstances there. But based upon the experience of building hotels that we have at this point, we are pretty confident in everything. We are pretty confident in cost. Everything has been bid out. We know exactly how long each subcontractor is going to take. Our banks are very responsive. Again, you guys have nothing to do with the loan that we take from bank. The developer will take the loan in their name, and they will service the loans. So you guys don't even have to worry about debt. But based upon our experience, we can give you assurances. Now, if you say, is there a 100% guarantee? No. Hurricane comes through and destroys all the building, or a tornado hits the building, and there's some, insurance claims and things like that. Those are act of gods. Barring that, which is a risk in every industry, barring these really outside of the scope, we are pretty confident in what we're doing.
So irrespective of the project, they still get their green card. That won't be stopped, whether the project has progressed or not.
The conditional continues, but to get your full green card, the project has to be completed and the jobs have to be created. Now remember, the green card is based upon you guys putting in money to create jobs. If the jobs are not created, that is a risk. So there are every project has its risk, but again, we have done enough to have confidence in that we will get this project done.
And Hardik Patel is asking, can you please share the recording? So hopefully we'll be able to put it on the API website for some time. We'll see. Admin can answer that if we place this on the API website or not. Otherwise, you can directly contact Rocky and have a one-on-one chat. Then Raj Joshi question is, once we got the green card with family, can we apply for the jobs in USA?
Yes. In 6 months, all of your family members would have green card. Your kids can find jobs. Your spouse can do jobs. And the biggest reason people do it is one of my uncle's daughters doing it is because she wanted to run her own business. And on H-1B, she could not. So then she is now taking the EB5 green card. So then she can do her own business. It's a medical business, but she wanted to do her own business and she couldn't do it on H-1B. So everyone can do jobs, run businesses, do their own businesses, whatever you want to do.
And a couple of people have asked, thank you for sharing this opportunity. Would like to have your email and how to contact you. Can you write it in the chat? How to contact you and email. And next question is, has there been a case where the EB5 was denied?
The only reason the EB5 gets denied, so let's say you can't prove that your money that you're putting in, so money has to have a trail, just being honest. So it's not that you can use drug money to do it. So you have to have a trail where the money came from. So USCIS is very serious about that. It's not a money laundering business. So they want to make sure that the money is coming from has a source documented. So it's coming from job, it can be coming from you selling properties, it can be a gift, it can be a loan. But it cannot be like, you bring bags of cash and dump it in there and say, okay, this is my money. So that's when they would say, hey, this money is not kosher money. Other than that, I've not heard of anything that as long as your paperwork is filed, it's not been denied.
And Niranjan has joined late, and his question is, what will be the likely investment, including attorney fees? Thanks.
Oh, good question. So we talked about that. The investment is fixed. There is not a minimum or a maximum. So there are two EB5 categories: urban and rural. In urban, it's $1,050,000, so $1,050,000 plus attorney and administration fees. In rural, it's 250, $250,000 less, so it will be 800,000 fixed investment. You're getting a return on it starting year 2, but then and then again, once we sell the hotel, you get your investment back too. Attorney fees are based upon attorneys. The attorney I use, he charges somewhere between $17,000 to $25,000. So not only is your money secure, you're getting a return on it. The only cost that you have, that cost is the administrative fees that are associated with the project, and it is included in the PPM that you will sign up on. That is used to pay for my side attorneys, the fund managers. They charge a lot of money. The banks they charge me money. So there are lots of expenses that we have to cover to sponsor your green card. So that admin money covers that cost.
Great. Another question is, how much amount in loan can be borrowed and what is the rate of interest?
Absolutely. The amount of loan typically these days, we are actually getting a little bit higher, lesser loan. Typical projects, you pay about 30% yourself and 70% you can get loan in most of the projects. In this one, we are probably going to go with 55% loan and 45% investment just to accommodate more EB5 candidates. What it does is it makes banks very happy that, oh, we only have to put up 65%, not 70 or 75%. And then your debt service is low. That means more cash flows to you. So then you can definitely start seeing that money coming into your account year 2 once we start operating the hotel. So that's the reason.
And Arun is asking, besides EB5, do you offer other investment opportunities to generate passive income?
Yeah, so I have a very large project about which is going to cost about $110 million. I've gotten some evaluations done, and at the end of the completion, it's going to generate about maybe $230 million total value as an exit. I've already finished phase one, and those houses are rented. You will not believe it. So we can have a personal chat about this. This is a very high return. I happen to have a pretty large amount of land close to a new development, $6 billion investment that's coming into that area. So I happen to have land. So I'm building 500 apartments there, 48 houses, 66,000 square foot of retail space, and a 120 room hotel there. So those are all very high IRR projects, like 40%, 50% return on those per year. So those are not EB5. Those are just pure passive investment opportunities. We can talk about it offline.
The next question is, for the investment for EB5, do you have a time period over which the investment can be made, or does it have to be all in one go?
It can be made in phases. So some people, they put in like, hey, I'm pulling money from India. There is a 700,000 cap. Otherwise, you have to pay 20% tax on that money. So they will pull up 500 this year, another 300 next year. So they've done that. I think it's 250 per person per year limit also in India. So yes, but keep in mind that I cannot certify that your investment is in until all the money is in, and only then you can file for your green card. So be aware of that. But you can start sending money whenever you want.
So somebody can do November, December, some amount, and January, some amount, and there it will be in the process.
Right.
And another question is, out of 800K, 30% down payment and rest is loan is the question.
No, we are projecting about 45% down and 55% loan. Just because you want to utilize more EB5 money to do it, so we can sponsor more candidates. It helps our cash flow because your debt service is low. You're not paying as much money into the debt, so then the investors can start expecting distributions.
So the next question is, the big project you spoke about, is it in Lebanon, Indiana with Lilly?
No, it's with Samsung and Starplus Energy in Kokomo, Indiana.
Oh.
Yeah, Indiana is booming right now. So you should come out to Indiana if you don't live in Indiana. There's so much happening. There's Eli Lilly project in Lebanon, which is over hundreds of acres, and there's a South Bend project in which there's $6 billion of money going into some chip, and then there is another one going up for chip factory, and so lots of stuff happening in Indiana.
Great. And admin, can we open up for open discussion since we have some more time, so that everybody can kind of speak and ask directly without having to type in? Is it open to all now, or?
Yeah, if you want to chat, you can unmute yourself and ask a question, or you just want to have a conversation.
So if no other questions, I don't see any new questions in the chat also. We have already, there is another question. For the loan, will it be for the investment?
That is correct. So we will take, as I said, about 55% loan. So if it's 16 million, we take, but roughly 8.5 million loan, 7.5 million EB5 money. That way we can just keep it a little bit lower loan amount. What's my financial interest in it?
Yeah.
And so I'm a developer, so I will, all transparency, benefit from, if I make and I'm being transparent here, the investors are getting capped at 6%. If the project makes 20%, I mean, the developer is going to take that money. Developer is sharing with the investors. The good news for investors is we are giving you a safe project to invest in. We're giving you guaranteed first dibs on the returns on the investment. But I'm confident enough that it's going to make way more money than the developer also get a share by doing this project. Now, keep in mind, I'm taking the risk for the loan and the risk for the development itself under my name. So the developer has their own risks, but there is upside to me once it is successfully executed.
The next question was, do you have the preferred lender for the loan?
Yeah,
I think they meant lender.
Yes. Yes, Preeti. There are 3 local banks that I've worked with. Actually, Sunny and I have a loan with one of the banks, and they want to do another loan for us. So we keep local Indiana banks. These are not large projects. Local Indiana banks, so if the project is somewhere in that range where they have to lend only less than $10 million, local banks are very happy to do it. Once you start looking at like 25 million, so I've got a $100 million project, that's where I start going to regional banks like key banks. And once in a while, I'll have to go to a broker to find me a national loan. But most of the times, there is a preferred list of banks in Indiana area who want to do some these type of projects in their backyard.
So, if a candidate starts today, when can they expect to get their conditional green card approved? Is it 2.5 years from now, or is it 6 months?
July 2025.
July 2025. Okay. Do all the banks that offer mortgage for personal property do this, or only particular lenders do this?
Yes. So some of the banks, they have been everyone. How do banks make money? They make money by lending. So they take your money at 1% on your, or 0.5% in your checking account, and then they lend it out. So it's just a funny story. Sunny, if I can share it. So Sunny and I looked at making a bank one time, years and years ago. You have to have, for every $100 that you put in your bank as deposit from other people, you can lend out $1,000. So these Chases of the world, the key banks of the world. So if they have $1 million in deposit, you can lend out $10 million to people, and their interest rate they're charging is 6.5%. So they're giving people money, giving 1% interest, and they are charging you 6.5%. That's how they make money. So all banks want to lend money, but they want to lend money in a safe way. So the safest is the housing, because you're living in a house, you're going to have to pay mortgage, and then they can sell it to Fannie and Freddie or somebody, and they take the mortgage and then they can sell it. So that's the safest one. Some have, like Chase Bank, will not go into hotels. They want to do multifamily. So there are like 5 banks who are after me for my multifamily project. But so there are, and retail, it's hard to find because they're very hesitant about retail. So yes, to answer your question, the banks who do offer personal property mortgages, they also do it, but it's a niche thing that some banks are into commercial development only.
Thank you. So we typed his name. If somebody is Googling his name or anything like that, it's Harpreetinder Singh. So it goes by Rocky. So if you go with Rocky Singh, you may not find stuff. So that's why I wanted to kind of give the legal name so that you can Google.
You can find me either way. So
because if you go check on IU site and all that, it's Harpreetinder Singh. And another question: if a candidate decides to keep the 800K in the project, they'll continue to make how much approximate ROI per year after second year? And obviously, when the project owner decides to sell it, candidates get their 800K entirely back and returns they earned or profit on 800K invested. What are the tax ramifications on 800K returned?
Great question. So 800K, which is returned, is your principal. There is no tax ramification on your principal return. So that's your capital, which is coming back to you. So invested $100 and you got $100 back, there's no tax ramification. You invested $100 and you got 120, now you got to pay taxes on that 20, your capital gains or income tax, whichever is applicable. If it is a sale, then it's a capital gain tax. If it is an operating $20, then you have to pay income tax. Those are the 2 types of taxes you may have to pay. Now, if this is the first time somebody has asked me, I want to keep it longer, you can, and then we can have a separate conversation that do we convert you into more of a general partner once your green card is done, the jobs have been filed, you have a full green card. You want to take that $800,000 back, or if you want to keep it in the project for long term as a long term investment, I think we can talk about that. Yeah, we can talk about that offline. I haven't had this question come up to me before.
That's great. It's a great conversation. Almost 45 minutes into the discussion. Any other questions? So is there, if it makes like windfall type of profits, all the investors get their share? Let us say you sell the project for whatever, like 30 million or whatever after putting in 25. So everybody gets their percentage of share?
So no, they get 6%.
Oh, that's a max.
Yes. So now, so that's what Hardik is asking, that if my green card is done and I've got that 600,000 in there, then can I be a general partner instead? So in EB5, the reason you're capped is like this is a safe investment, but not a high rate of return investment. This is primarily to get you a green card. And if you go out and look at different funds, Veena, we can see you. Do you have any question? So if you're looking for something, which is higher rate of return, then a non-EB5 investment would be the one you want to go. Once you got your green card, then the options open up. You can invest in your own business. You can build your own strip mall. You can build your own hotel or invest into non-EB5 projects, which are with greater return. This is not intended to be a really high return project. It isn't intended to be a safe project that you can get your green card with. And some return, not high return.
Hey, Rocky, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Hardik. Thanks for the information. I had another question. I was thinking if a person who's on H-1B in America doing a job, if they're trying to get a business loan or some kind of loan to invest in this, like you're saying 55% is going to be a loan, that's pretty much like $500,000, right? So is it easy for the candidates to gather this kind of a business loan or a personal loan, and what kind of like interest rates you get on these sort of things, like,
Hardik, I'm so sorry. I may not have been very clear. So the loan has got nothing to do with the candidate. So I am taking a loan from a bank. I'm going to go to a bank and say, hey, I've got this $8 million raised from the candidates, EB5 candidates. Give me $8 million loan. So that is the loan. Each candidate has to come up with $800,000 investment, either through personal money, taking a loan against their properties or whatever the collateral, or getting someone to gift you that money. So they cannot be part of the loan. They have to have 800,000 of their personal investment, which is at risk and creating jobs. That is not my requirement. That is USCIS requirement. Does that make sense? So the candidates have nothing to do with the loan that the project is taking. They have to come up with their personal 800,000 through self, loan, or gift.
Exactly. The question was like, if the candidate is trying to gather $800,000, let's say if I do not have liquid $800,000 myself, if I'm going to the market to get a loan, like, is it a business loan? And if somebody's on H-1B, can they get that sort of a loan? Or like, in your experience, like you've probably worked with a lot of people already, so.
Yeah, so there was a company I knew. They did loans for H-1B. Let me find out more about you, Karthik. And again, my email is here. If you can send me your contact, I'll look for those banks who do EB5 loans against property. It's usually a personal loan. You're putting something in collateral. So let's say you've got a $1 million house and you only owe like 300,000, then it's almost like a home equity line of credit that you're taking that money against your own property. I've known people who can do that I don't know, Gopal, are you on?
Yeah, yes, Rocky.
So do you know if it can be done against collateral in India? If somebody was, yeah.
Yes, but I think it might present some challenges. Again, it's not a big deal as long as you prove that the money is coming from there. You just have to establish the trial.
Yeah, so I think I'll answer your question separately. There are some resources who will lend you money to invest into the EB5 projects, if that's your question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, the
Niranjan
easiest thing
has
would
another.
be, taking a home equity loan against your primary property. That's easy for the lenders, it's pretty easy to prove, makes things simple.
There is another question. If you gift $800,000 to someone in India to apply for the visa, do they have to pay income tax in India?
They do not, because the money is being gifted here, not in India.
Banks from India do not allow money to be invested in US, I learned. I don't think that is true, right? Banks from India do not allow money to be invested in US?
That is not true. The only thing I know is that there is a tax that the Indian government levies on a high amount of money being transferred out of India. So that's a more recent thing that I think was 20%, but after first 700,000 there wasn't, but after 700,000 you have to pay 20% tax on moving money out of India, moving dollars out of.
Any other questions? You can unmute yourself and ask.
So, Rocky, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hear me? Hi, Rocky.
I can hear you.
Yeah. So sorry, I missed some part of the earlier part of the talk, but like how soon, once somebody invests into this project, how soon can they get the permanent visa?
So the project is ready for investment. So from my side, the project is 100% complete from paperwork. So if tomorrow, by Monday, you said, here's my 800,000 and a clean 800,000 sitting in my bank, you can apply on Monday, and by May, June, you will have a green card in your hand. May.
Okay, so we're talking about at least 7-8 months.
And it's average of 6 months, but it can be between 3 to 9 months, but an average of 6 months.
Can I have your correct web address, please? Because I tried the address that you gave. It's not open.
Yeah, the website is down. I'm gonna work on putting it up and putting some information there. My apologies.
Rocky, this is this particular thing. If there's a person with the family, with a wife and kids, everybody gets the permanent visa based on this.
100%, but your kid have to be below 21. If they're above 21, then they age out.
Okay. Done.
Vina's question, Sunil, there is another question in there.
Oh, let us see. How easy is it to get EB5 citizenship or green card visa for USA if they have visa from India and Canada for 5 years? So if they already have a multi-entry visa, visitor's visa, I guess.
So it's easier than being in India, because when you're in US, you can apply for change of status, and that gets a little bit quicker, maybe a month quicker, 2 months quicker than actually getting that paperwork sent to India. So when you're applying when you are in India versus applying when you're here on H-1B or a visa already, there are different processes. You're applying for change of status while you're in US, and when you're in India, you're applying for immigration. So yes, 6 months, Vina.
Then we invest in EB5 with retirement savings.
So disclaimer, there are some tax ramifications that you may want to check with your CPA about retirement savings. If you take money out of your retirement savings, there are some tax ramifications that you may want to check with your CPA. But the answer is yes. But I will advise you, check with your CPA, what are the implications of taking money out of your retirement account.
It becomes a withdrawal pretty much and end up like being taxed as income.
Sunny is correct.
Great. We still have 4 more minutes. If any other questions, you can unmute yourself and ask too. When you gift the money from USA, you have to pay gift tax.
No, you're paying it to someone else who's not a U.S. citizen. They're not paying any taxes. They're not filing any taxes. So at least the last time I did, my son did it for his brother-in-law. He didn't have to pay any gift taxes, or his brother-in-law did not have to pay any taxes on the money he received as gift.
It could be a loan also. That way, like there can be a loan and then loan payback.
Exactly. You don't even have to give a tax. You say, I'm giving loan to my brother or my sister or my brother-in-law or my nephew, and then, just when the money comes back, then it comes back to you.
What projects are available? Like, for example, if somebody is a student and doesn't have a lot of free time to work, so can he be sponsored through the EB5? What I'm saying is like a medical student or a doctor in training.
Absolutely. You may be on B1, B2, you may be on H1, B1. You can be on any visa, student, visitor, F1. You can be on any visa and you're still eligible for EB5.
Thank you.
In fact, majority of our applicants, they are for the students, sponsored by their family member, father or a mother, typically, so that way they can have a full freedom to work or do a business here once they finish the education.
Arun's got a question.
Yeah, somebody else asked a question. I was waiting for you to complete that. Somebody asked a question, right? Okay, next.
Good.
Would you and your team provide advice on how to bring money legally, safely from India? Also, can I take loan and provide the money to count towards my parents' EB5?
That is correct. The only requirement, we will advise you to how to bring money from India safely. There are legal ways, so we have done this before. So we will give you resources and contact people. So like, for example, HSBC Bank, you can open up account here, and you can go to HSBC in India, and HSBC will transfer the money over here into this account. So we'll definitely help you with that. Yes, you can also take a loan, and then that loan can count towards your parents' money. Again, I'm going to stress on this. The only thing you got to make sure is that the paper trail where the money came from, you have to keep a record of it. So if you say I sold a house in Delhi or I sold a house in Hyderabad, so you have to keep that money in bank and show that it came from that sale, and then use that money for your EB5. Just keep good record of it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rocky. And we all enjoyed knowing about this, although some of us may not personally need it, but we all have families in India that may be looking for green cards and all that. And this is a very fast way of getting a green card if you have enough money. Essentially, it's like buying a green card, but your money is still as an investment.
I know, like Dubai is doing it, Portugal is doing it. So if you're going to spend $1 million in Dubai to get a golden visa, why not just get a green card in it? And then you can do whatever you want anywhere in the world. So that's the whole thing. And I wish I knew when I was on H1B for 15 years. I had a pat down, I would have done it then, but hopefully we can help other people out.
6 to 9 month time frame is somebody in India or have to be in US?
So the US probably more around 4 to 5 months, and then India would be more around 7, 8 months. So 9 is the max, but typically it takes a little bit longer when you are in India to receive all your paperwork, then get an appointment, and then you have to go to the embassy. And whereas in the US, you're not going anywhere. You're just receiving your change of status by mail.
A couple of my classmates actually did this and got their daughter and son, as got the green card for daughter and son. They are here and they are doing residency now. But this is really more work for family. If they are family of 4 or 5, all of them they will get at the same time.
Yeah, the issue is that these kids, so I've done doing it for a couple of kids, their families in India, but they're above 21, so they wouldn't have qualified if I did it for them. So if
Yeah.
you're over 21, you have to have their own EB.
Great discussion. Thank you all for attending, and thank you, Rocky, for your presentation. And hope this helps some of the families.
Absolutely. And thanks for hosting us, Anil. Look forward to seeing you here.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thanks for
And bye.
joining. Yeah, reach out to me if you have other questions.
Sure.
Can you post your contact here on the?
It's in the chat,
Okay.
but
Right.
I can have Vijay send out just a quick email to people too.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, all the attendees, I guess they have the email that can be sent. Whoever have registered for this meeting. All right, let's conclude this and call it a day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.